Most men are not silent because they have nothing to say. They are silent because they learned that honesty can be used against them. And this is one of the biggest lies in modern dating, that men do not feel, that men do not care, that men do not want depth, that men are emotionally unavailable by nature. But what if that is not true? What if a lot of men are not emotionally unavailable? What if they are emotionally cautious? What if they are not avoidant? What if they are protecting themselves from a culture that has already decided what their behavior means? Because today, almost every normal male response has a negative label attached to it. If a man needs space, he is avoidant. If he is quiet, he is stonewalling. If he leads, he is controlling. If he has standards, he is insecure. If he is generous early, he is love bombing. If he changes his mind, he is a narcissist. If he disagrees, he is unsafe. And if he walks away, he is emotionally unavailable. So ask yourself something. What is a man allowed to be? Seriously, what is he allowed to do? If he pursues too hard, he is manipulative. If he does not pursue enough, he is low effort. If he pays, he is trying to buy access. If he does not pay, he is not a real man. If he opens up too soon, he is trauma dumping. If he does not open up, he has intimacy issues. If he wants peace, he is avoiding accountability. If he argues back, he is aggressive. If he stays calm, he is dismissive. If he walks away, he is abandoning her. This is the trap modern men are living inside. Not a physical trap, a psychological one. A man can enter a relationship with good intentions and still find himself surrounded by labels he never agreed to. He is not being understood, he is being interpreted. And the interpretation is usually not neutral. It comes from a culture that taught women to scan men for danger, dysfunction, manipulation, narcissism, avoidance control, and emotional incompetence. Now, are some men dangerous? Yes. Are some men manipulative? Yes. Are some men abusive, selfish, dishonest, and emotionally immature? Of course. But that is not the point. The point is that the language built to identify genuinely harmful men has now expanded so wide that normal men are getting caught inside it. And once a man is labeled, the conversation is over because the label becomes the truth. If he explains himself, he is defensive. If he disagrees, he lacks accountability. If he gets frustrated, he proves the label. If he leaves, he proves the label. That is why so many men stop talking. Not because they are weak, because they understand the court is already biased. They understand that the same vulnerability women ask for can become evidence against them later. A man opens up about insecurity. Later, it becomes you're projecting. A man admits he is stressed. Later, it becomes you can't regulate your emotions. A man says he needs time to think. Later, it becomes you're avoidant. A man says, I do not like your past. Later, it becomes you're controlling and insecure. So eventually, the smart man learns. Say less, reveal less, invest slower, trust later, and then women look around and ask, where did all the emotionally available men go? They left, or more accurately, they adapted. They adapted to an environment where every expression of masculinity can be reframed as pathology. And this is where modern dating becomes tragic. Because a lot of women are not evil. Many of them genuinely want love. They want depth. They want safety. They want a man who leads. They want a man who provides. They want a man who is strong, loyal, emotionally present, and committed. But the culture handed them a lens that makes it harder to recognize that man when he appears. Because if he leads, the lens says control. If he protects, the lens says possession. If he has boundaries, the lens says insecurity. If he is selective, the lens says misogyny. If he is masculine, the lens says threat. So the very traits women claim to want in men are the same traits modern culture taught them to suspect. And men feel this deeply. They may not articulate it perfectly. They may not have the academic language for it, but they feel it in their nervous system. They feel it on dates. They feel it in relationships. They feel it when they are trying to explain themselves to someone who is not listening to understand, but listening to diagnose. And once a man realizes he is not being loved as a person, but evaluated as a risk, something inside him changes. He becomes careful, then distant, then cynical, then unavailable. And the world says, see, men are the problem. No, men are responding to the rules of the game. When generosity becomes love bombing, men become less generous. When leadership becomes control, men stop leading. When vulnerability becomes ammunition, men stop opening up. When commitment becomes a bad deal, men stop committing. That is not mystery, that is incentive. People adapt to what punishes them. So, before you call a man emotionally unavailable, ask a better question. Was he always closed off? Or did he learn that opening up was unsafe? Because men are not born silent, they are trained into silence. One accusation, one label, one weaponized confession at a time.